Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to take time to do a quick video to introduce my 2009 BMW 535 Xi. So I want to introduce this quick because we're going to start getting some work done on it. Some necessities. I haven't driven for a while. I ran through a quick car wash. Unfortunately it didn't dry the best. But I basically just want to kind of show you guys the car, go over a few things, and then some pros, some cons, things like that. That was introduced to the channel before we start doing some work. I'm planning on potentially doing some work tomorrow on it. So like I said, this is a 2009 BMW 535 Xi all-wheel drive 3.0 liter twin turbo 6-cylinder. Now it's not perfect, it has a lot of issues, which is good because then it gives us content to do for the channel. So there's some imperfections in the paint, there's some mechanical issues, things like that. So let's just start looking at the car and go from there. Now some of the issues, as you can see right here, I always try to hide it, but you know, we'll just put it on the video. On the front, I had somebody accidentally back into the front of the car. That's something that I hadn't got to get fixed yet. And then I kind of made a boo-boo on the back. I had a gate put on my fence at my house and forgot about the supports. They had to put an extra post in. And if you get real close, I may have backed into it. So at some point, that's something that we're going to do. I'm going to try to get new front and back bumpers for the car. So overall, these cars from factory, about 300 horsepower, not 100% sure on the foot-pounds of torque. You know, we'll get into that later as we start doing some mods to it. But they're a pretty good engine. But I will show you here in a second. We're gonna get in here, we're gonna pop the hood, if I even remember how to. Like I said, this car's been sitting for a couple months. I just kind of got it out to shoot this video before I do some work because it has some mechanical issues right now. But whew, right there, I can smell some oil. So these engines, it's like a love-hate relationship, to be 100% honest with these things. They're not necessarily bad. I mean, they're really good in some ways. You can put a lot of power to them, but they tend to not be the most reliable, these cars in general. But I mean, they're awesome with what you can do. But right here, 3.0 twin turboed 6-cylinder by BMW. Great engine. Like I said, has some good and some bad points though. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons to this car. Like I said, you know, it might sound like I'm saying a lot more cons, but overall I love the car. I would buy another one. Later on I may try to buy a second one with a blowed up engine, but we'll get into that later. Another thing I want to show you guys here real quick, one thing that I really like, don't want to give too much away here, but there's a lot of trunk space in these cars. I got an empty, that's washer fluid, that is not antifreeze. There's a lot of trunk space. Some of the things I'm hoping to do with this car, I've already started on, as you can see. I want to black it out. You know, I got the taillights done. I got windows done around. I had the reflectors done on the car. You know, I have exhaust tips and stuff for it and different things. You know, side windows. My good buddy, he does really excellent work. I'm going to try it at some point, link him in the description. Maybe not in this video, but in another one. I mean, he did the side marker lights. The only thing that he didn't do, which he wasn't able to do, was my headlights and fog lights, which we'll get into that in a second. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get back into the car. I blacked out the grills. I do have new badges to put on. I'm going to get in the car here. Still a little bit warm out today, so I'm going to turn some air on. Like I said, I mean, overall, these cars are just, I mean, amazing cars. I mean, they work good most of the time, but they do have their known issues, which we'll get into when we step inside the car here real quick. All right, now we're back inside the car here real quick. I had to button a few things up outside so that I could get going here. But, so, pros and cons to this car. I guess we'll start with the pros. It is a very comfortable ride. It's very good. Last year, took it to the beach. I actually went from I started my vacation up around Watkins Glen, New York. I went all the way down to Ocean City. other than stopping for the boys to use the restroom. You know, I didn't have to stop, you know, to stretch or anything really. You know, it's a comfortable ride. Overall, the car works really good, you know, out on the highway and stuff. You know, it runs great. The things that I have against it honestly aren't bad. It's just kind of like there's a lot of like there's some electrical issues. You know, there's so many electronics in BMWs that, you know, if one fails, it might take out a couple things. You know, I have some issues, like, you know, I'm not going to go and do any, like, hard pulls with it. I did run it a little bit hard to get to this spot, but I'm not going to run it too awful hard because I have some issues hopefully getting fixed tomorrow along with some other things. But I'm trying to get a lot of things done here real quick because A, I am planning on taking this on vacation this year. B, I would like to go to the Carlisle Import and Performance Show, which means I got to get a lot of stuff done. I'm waiting for some carbon fiber to come in and some other things. I got to try to get my issues fixed mechanically and things like that. So the best way I can describe this car, and this is just my personal preference, I mean, for having 104,000, almost 105,000 miles on it, it runs great. These cars, you know, run upwards of, you know, 200,000 miles, but there's just things that they recommend you replace, and there's things that, you know, they're just going to go out. These cars, although they can be, and they were originally created to be everyday drivers, they necessarily aren't the best for everyday drivers, which I've found out, just because, you know, this model and this engine and stuff, they have some issues. But what they are good for, these cars come with forged internals, which means you can put quite a bit of power to them before you have to rebuild like the bottom end and stuff. I've seen one personally, which he did end up rebuilding the bottom end, but he had got upwards of like 750 horse. I've been reading things that are saying, you know, you can get upwards of 800 horse. I'm not doing that just because, you know, I hold my kids in and stuff. I'm hoping at the end of it maybe have between 450 and 5. Like I said, stock is 3. If I can get 450 to 5, I am going to be more than happy with it. So the interior now might be a little dated. Like I said, it's a 2009, you know, and we're in 2020. It might be a little dated compared to things, but this car is amazing. And like I said, it's one of them cars, you know that it's not going to be the most reliable vehicle and it might break down, but the capability is there to get a lot of power out of it. And that's what I want to utilize it for, because, you know, it's going to give me issues whether I let it stock and just, you know, when I first bought it, I wasn't planning on really modding it, you know, blacking it out with the tint and stuff, and that was going to be about it. Now I decided to do that because you can get some good power out of it, and it don't take a lot of effort. And the thing is that it's probably going to break on me anyway, so I might as well put the power to it and have the fun with it and fix it as it breaks. So that being said, overall, I really like the car. Not the most reliable for everyday driving. I've seen on Facebook, I'm, you know, on a Facebook page that I see a lot of guys say that, you know, hey, we're selling it. There's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but we need to get a more reliable daily vehicle and stuff. So I don't recommend it for daily driving, but if you want a 4-door sedan, like you got kids, but you want something you can play around with, this is a great car. I plan on keeping this car around for quite a while on the channel, just because of the fact of I would like to add a 2-door car eventually, but I want to keep a 4-door vehicle. So I'm probably going to keep this on. I'm going to mod it. I'm going to keep it. This is going to be something for, you know, I can play around a little bit. You know, I can have my boys in here. Not an issue. So I'm going to keep this around probably for a while. Overall, I love this car. I recommend getting it. I want to get a second one. I can't go too much into detail with that, and I can't go into too much detail what we're doing with this car. Like I said, I just have a lot of projects that I'm working on. I have kind of a stockpile of parts at my house right now for it. I've just been kind of waiting. So a lot of the big things are coming with this one. At the time, I'm probably going to reach out to you guys and see if you guys can find me one. You know, when it comes time for it, you know, it's not going to need to be a running car or anything, because trust me, nothing is going to stay the same in it. So if you guys can, if you liked the video, please do me a favor, like, subscribe. You know, I'm going to try to attempt to link my Facebook page and my Instagram. I am not the best with the computer stuff yet, so bear with me on that. It might take me a little bit to get all the bugs worked out, but I'm gonna work on it. So one last thing before we get out of here, you know, I'm running a little bit late and stuff, which is like usual, so get used to that with me. I'm gonna be late. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick look of the interior here quick, and then we'll work on wrapping things up from there. So bear with me, the car hasn't been properly cleaned in a couple months. Like I said, it's just been sitting in my driveway, to be honest with you. I haven't even hardly used it. So if you look here, you know, I mean, the interior, I mean, it's kind of small for kids. I mean, if you have more than like 2 kids, I found out, you know, if y'all like 3 kids, sometimes it doesn't always work out the best, because it gets a little tight in the back, especially like when you got younger ones like I do. You know, 2 of them are in car seats yet, like booster seats, so that they're kind of messing with things a little bit. So I'm going to give you a quick look up here at the instrument panel here real quick, and then you're actually going to see one of the issues that I have with the car that's not necessarily a mechanical issue, but I'll explain it here real quick. Alright, so right here, if you look in the instrument panel, which it doesn't show up the best on camera, I noticed this with my phone too, but there's a little triangle lit up there. I mean, like I said, it's the interior is a little bit dated and stuff, but you know, overall, I mean, it's a nice car, but there's a little triangle like right over in here, and that there is for the driver's side rear window. So that there's been given some issues and stuff for a little while now. The other thing that I had to get used to, kinda, was, yeah, again, don't mind this. Here's a broken lug nut key. The shifter in this thing is a little bit different. So, you know, you put your foot on the brake like usual. Yes, it's an automatic. Like I said, at the time when I bought the car, it was figured to be a daily driver, until I realized, you know, how much they require to use as a daily driver. So that's another reason why I only want to stay about 500 horse with being the automatic transmission. I don't want to push it too hard. But, you know, so you got to push this button in. That's drive. That's reverse. You know, and then you can bump it in neutral. You can bump it over into manual, you know, do your up, down, stuff like that. Then to put it in the park, you do that. Now, I stopped at a gas station on the way up here, and I'm going to flip you guys around to me. So, I stopped at a gas station on the way up here. I hadn't driven the car in a couple months, and I forgot how to put it in the park for a second. It actually took me a little bit to remember how to put the car into park. So, like I said, overall, it's a good car. I just want to kind of throw this in here real quick, like introducing the car to the channel. That way, when I start, you know, doing some videos where we're doing modifications and stuff to it and different things like that, it's not just like, oh, where did this car come from? You know, I just wanted to introduce it. It's just going to be a quick cut and dry video. So at some point, once I get an exhaust and stuff done on it, we're going to do some pulls with it. And once I make sure that I have, I'm having an oil issue right now. Once I get that figured out, you know, we'll do some drive-bys and some, you know, pulls and stuff with it. But right now, like I said, I just kind of wanted to do a video to introduce it to the channel. So I hope everybody stays safe and has a good weekend. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.